Monaghan.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm delighted to have the support of so many of my colleagues here today as I make this my first speech to the House. I'm honoured to be here representing Glasgow North West, the area I grew up and the area I have chosen to raise my own children. Glasgow North West does not have the lochs and islands of Argyll and Bute, nor the mountains of Skye and Loch Aber, but what it does have are some of the most beautiful sandstone buildings anywhere in these isles.
Hear, hear.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I invite you to take a stroll along the avenues of Broom Hill or past the tenements of Thornwood to enjoy these delights. So inspired was I by this architecture that I left my previous job as a physics teacher to retrain as a stonemason instead. Perhaps I could offer my services to this building and save the public purse some money. Glasgow's dedication to science and engineering has ensured the Clyde's rich tradition in shipbuilding is world-renowned. But there are only two remaining shipyards, Govan and Scotstoun, which is located in my own constituency. When BAE Systems chooses to build ships in Glasgow, it isn't mere tokenism. It is because they know they have one of the world's most highly skilled workforces at their disposal. And when the contract was recently awarded for the Type 26 frigates, my reaction was, why not more? And we certainly could be building more if it wasn't for the obscenity of nuclear weapons. Glasgow is famous for its love of sport. Only last year we hosted the hugely successful Commonwealth Games, when athletes and visitors were treated to the warmth and hospitality of our Glaswegians, and to the outstanding summer weather which we always enjoy. I take this opportunity to congratulate my neighbours, the Glasgow Warriors rugby team, who were recently crowned the Pro 12 champions. They're the first Scottish team to win an international trophy in the modern professional era. I would like to pay tribute to my predecessor, Mr John Robertson, who worked hard to serve Glasgow North West for nearly 15 years. His 2009 amendment to the Welfare Reform Bill ensured that people registered blind or partially sighted could claim the higher level of disability living allowance, and it is right that he is lauded for this. John was first elected in a by-election in November 2000, following the untimely and tragic death of Donald Dewar. The seat at that time was Glasgow Anniesland. I am hugely honoured to be representing the same part of Glasgow as Scotland's First Minister. It was Donald's push for devolution that started Scotland on the political journey that has led to the election of myself and so many of my colleagues. I am proud to have been part of Scotland's world-famous comprehensive education system. The 1496 Education Act required every parish to provide a school. This resulted in Scotland making a significant contribution to the period of enlightenment, when the modern world we know today was developed. Today, Scotland still has more universities per head of population than any other country in the world. The value we place on educating our future citizens cannot be understated. The Scottish Government has ensured that university education is a right that is based on the ability to learn, not a privilege for those who can afford to pay. so, Madam Deputy Speaker, our proud tradition in education is not historical. It is alive and well today. In Scotland, we have a new progressive curriculum for excellence, which starts at age 3 and continues to age 18, ensuring our students are well equipped as they move beyond school. While I welcome the UK Government's plan to follow the Scottish lead in increasing childcare provision to 3- and 4-year-olds, the requirement that both parents must be working means many children in need of a good start will miss out. People in Glasgow are struggling under the continued onslaught of austerity. In some parts of my constituency, 1 in every 2 children are born into poverty. Teaching in a comprehensive school, I am only too aware of the impact this has on the prospects of our young people. I've seen too many talented students struggle because they are hungry, because they cannot study in a damp house, because they have to go out and work to supplement the meagre household income. I have heard the word aspiration used repeatedly in this House. Try having aspirations when you're living on the edge of destitution. I know the difference great teaching can make to schools and make to pupils involved. But all too often, hard-working teachers who are battling to deal with society's failings are blamed for not doing enough. This has to stop. Unless we start valuing teachers for the contribution they make, making a school an academy will not change anything, and the crisis in education will only deepen. As a teacher, I always had great ambitions for my pupils, but the most important thing a teacher can give to their students is self-confidence. Last September's referendum may not have returned the result I hoped for, but it did restore the confidence of a nation. We now have an engaged electorate, an electorate who were brave enough to take a break from the status quo and turn to a different type of politics. Because young people had the vote in the Scottish referendum, they did the unthinkable. They started talking about politics. In the dinners hall, in the corridors, in the playgrounds, and even if they were brave enough in some classrooms. The importance of this cannot be understated. They threw around ideas, arguments, and counter-arguments in an entirely safe environment, without the influence of older adults, or workmates, or mainstream media. Could it be, Madam Deputy Speaker, that the real reason this House is opposed to votes for 16 and 17-year-olds is that our young people may start to challenge old ideas? Thomas Jefferson famously said, "I like the dreams of the future better than the history of the past." We on these benches are here to ensure the vision we have for the young people of Scotland is realised. Our dreams, Madam Deputy Speaker, will become our children's reality. Tapaleave.
Neil Cormack.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. It's a great pleasure to speak in this debate, not least because it's the first one in education that I have addressed since I was elected as chair of the Education Select Committee. So my first task is to thank all of those who voted for me, and those to which I'm immensely grateful, and I'm sure that as we go along they'll either regret it or that number will swell. It's also a great honour to follow the Honourable Lady for Glasgow North West, who I know is the education spokesman for her party, and I've already talked to her about a range of issues, and I think that her speech was very moving and very impressive, not least in her reference to the first Minister.